Montagna, welcome.
Jared.
David King, hello.
Hello, guys. How are
I
we?
did notice last week you carried the back page of the local paper for a couple of days with the Vanilla Crows. Have you had any feedback since arriving?
See, we were getting along so well. you waited for that, didn't you?
Actually, I see that Joey's going after Port first, so you'll both be lucky to get out of here
That
alive.
time he did that, actually.
I'm moving across.
All right. So, Joey, you're giving us New Year, same old power problems.
Well, we're not going at Port. We're just putting them on watch. We're just putting them on watch.
That's quite
that
right,
is the segment,
quite right.
the watch list. So I suppose what we do want to raise is it is round 3, and we want to look at whether anything has changed with the Port Adelaide system, because all the talk was about their personnel. And we're going to start, first of all, by looking at the positives of Port Adelaide, because they do have a really strong, identifiable brand. And that came through in the way they played last year, and it has also continued on the way they've started this year. You take a look at their numbers. They are a team that is based on strong clearance game, playing the game in their front half, winning the ball back. They're a strong forward half team, and being able to score. Their offense has not been a problem, and that has been the stable part of their game for a long time now. But then on the flip side, we understand where Port Adelaide's weakness lied last year. And you can see the numbers there. It was the points against. And we know if you want to be a premiership team, you need to be in the top 6. Their inability to stop the ball getting scored when it came inside their defensive 50, and they weren't a strong team at winning the ball back in their back half. Well, we've played 3 rounds now, and still at the moment the same problems lie. So the question is it the personnel, because we got told it was the lack of key defenders, or is it actually the system and the way they play? Now, to answer the first part of the personnel, they have not lost a defensive one-on-one contest this year, Port Adelaide. It's remarkable, in fact. The next best has lost 5. They haven't lost 1. But when you take a look at the system, we know they're an aggressive press team. But it's been interesting how many times so far this season they actually allow the opposition to have a player forward of the ball. That it doesn't matter who you've got as your key defenders, it leads to scores. So that was Dustin Martin the first time. This is from a stoppage. Mansell finds himself free inside the forward half of the ground for Richmond. So who are the leaders back there for Port Adelaide demanding and yelling out at someone to come back and be able to close the numbers and even them up, because they are defending reasonably well when they're in a one-on-one contest. The problem is they're getting too many opportunities where Bucks, they're not even in a one-on-one. Like this was a simple, Pickett came back into the stoppage, Neil Bullen went back to half forward. Port Adelaide didn't get it organised. They got caught out, and it led to an important goal to start the 4th quarter when Melbourne got their run on. And this was the last example, which I spoke about on First Crack, that happened all night. Petrarca spits forward, which they do really often with Neil Bullen. He's free forward of the ball, and it just creates some mayhem behind the ball for Port Adelaide. So in this situation, Ratugolea is on Ben Brown. Ratugolea gets caught up on the mark, and because Port Adelaide defend in a unique way, they're not a team that roll around and support as much as some of the other really strong defensive sides. They play a very much one-on-one brand. So there's no real desire here for any winger or any other midfielder to roll around and help out, and they leave them exposed. And it's just been a bit of a trend for Port Adelaide over not just this season, but going back to last year. So it just raises the question of whether it's the personnel that was the problem last year, or they need to look at their system and maybe not be as aggressive with how they want to press if they want to get the balance right and be a genuine premiership contender.
Is there a suggestion that Ratugolea and Zerk Thatcher in the last line maybe haven't learnt that system yet, and that has an impact, or is it the numbers indicate that it's sort of year on year?
Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe, and maybe are they leader type players like Ratugolea and Zerk Thatcher? I don't know them personally, but are they a bit more worried about, especially a new club, getting their own job done and not demanding of others? So it's just something to look at. And really, the idea of putting Port Adelaide on the watch list right now is they have a golden run here. They've got 5 of 6 games at home, which you will never ever see. Now they blew one against Melbourne, and we understand Melbourne are going to be one of the better teams. But you look at the run now; they've got 4 of the next 5 at home. This is their time to make their mark. Are they a team that is going to be like last year and be the 14-2 and be a team that everyone fears, or are they going to be a team that come home 3-6 and have serious question marks about their defence and the way that they stop opposition? So we're just going to put them on watch, see what the next 5 or 6 weeks look like.
I think it's a competition-wide trend to try and lengthen your forwards too in the last 18 months to beat that, or even longer, to beat that press. So it's not as if it's sneaking up on teams. And Richmond won flags off the back of getting that outnumber forward as well.
Kingy, you gave us the drummer in the band last week, and for a core, it looked glorious. It was all you could see to go. Are you turning your eyes to Carlton and their counterpunch?
Yeah, well, Adelaide can't win it, and Port Adelaide now can't win it. So I thought I'd have a look at who can win it. I think that the game now is about counterpunching and punishing on the scoreboard. And I think Carlton are as well stocked and stacked as anyone. Most teams have 2 quality halfbacks who can use the ball. Some have 3. Carlton have 4. And when you go through the numbers, What we're used to with Carlton has changed. They were a clearance team and they'd bash you at stoppage, get in their forward half and score. But everything's changed. Their score from clearance, they've gone from first in the competition to 15th. That's a 3.5 goal swing. They've lost there, if you like. And then on intercepts, they've picked up that 4 goals. So it's a better profile in terms of a healthier profile that's a system-based, not just on 3 or 4 brutes around the football. Their ability to punish has gone from 17th to 2nd. That's the thing that really excites me about the new Carlton model. They're winning in different ways. Last week they won on the back of pressure, but they've gone from scoring 82 points to 103. Now, I know it's very early. We're 3 weeks in, and sometimes that can depend on who you've played, but they've played a mix, really. Brisbane, Richmond, and obviously North Melbourne last week. So I want to look at their kickers out of the back line. And we all recognise Adam Saad and say he's been a top liner for a long time. I'm not too concerned about Adam Saad. Zach Williams, we know. Mitch McGovern, we know, is an interceptor and a kicker. Not many know Jordan Boyd. And I think he's the 7th rated kick in the competition right now. A mid-season selection a couple of years ago that has a great understanding of what's required and when. Does the team need me to go fast? Yep, got to go, got to pull the trigger. Do we need to play with a bit of composure and a bit of control? He's only played 20 games, but he's 25 years of age, so he's played a lot of footy. He understands what's needed, Bucks and I think this mix at Carlton, and it's going to be season of the sticks. I can see Steve Kernahan handing over the Premiership Cup or being one of the eligible people to hand over the cup in the last week in September because they are loaded. We know we talk a lot about their forward of centre brigade. We talk about Wiedering down back, but I think they're ready to roll, Bucks.
He's genuinely tough too, Jordan Boyd. So, that's a value add to it. Mitch McGovern showed a few of his defensive efforts, but this side of the game, like his offence, once he's got ball in hand, his intercept marking and his ball use, there was a time when Sam Doherty was playing, when we used to think, well, Carlton need 2 of him. One off the back because he provides a run off the back and one in the midfield because you need more run in the midfield. It's not the case anymore.
So it's different. So Carlton are different. So get out of your head that they bash teams because they really don't now. They're doing it on ball movement. They've still got Walsh to come back. So they'll be better as a clearance brigade and a core group when they get Sam back. But what they're doing right now, I think, is going to take them further than what last year's model did. And we know what last year's model took them to the second last week of the year. It took them to a 5-goal lead at quarter time. So, we talk a lot about getting things on the scoreboard. I think they're great defensively, but offensively, it's a new system and it's got gears.
And they're attacking the corridor, aren't they?
Yeah,
being aggressive.
Very aggressive. And with this kicking outfit, why wouldn't you? A huge game against Fremantle.
Yeah.
And I think that they're stacked enough to say, hey, here we are. I think we'll all be talking about them on Monday, the Monday review, in glowing terms. So keep your eye on the kickers.
So the Dockers are the #1 defence at the moment?
Yeah, they are. They do it a bit different. So we'll wait and see. This is probably their biggest challenge. They were very good against Brisbane in round 1, but this is a big task.
All right. Great to have you both here. You're part of Fox's coverage tomorrow night in the Eddie Betts pocket. They're all Eddie Betts' pocket, aren't they? I'm not sure that actually helps anymore.
He's running around putting plaques everywhere.
David King and Leigh Montagna with us on AFL 360.